This is GamesAtWork.biz, your weekly podcast about gaming, technology, and play. Your hosts are Michael Martin, Andy Piper, and Michael Rowe. The thoughts and opinions on this podcast are those of the hosts and guests alone and are not the opinions of any organization which they have been, are, or may be affiliated with. This is episode 564, Saving Drowning People with Spiders? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Michael Rowe here. Today is Friday. It's Friday afternoon. I'm here on a FaceTime with two of my friends to have some fun, talk tech, and podcast at you. I don't know. Whatever the heck's going on. Andy, how are you?
I'm good. I was going to say you could do two of those things, but I'm not going to let you. I'm going to let you decide which two out of the three that you'd be doing with us. I'm well, Michael. I'm sitting here in London. We've had another hot week, although it's just kind of got a bit cooler again, which is a relief. We've had this. I think you probably had the same. These ongoing heat waves through the summer. But yeah, glad to be here. Michael Martin, how are you?
Well, I'm freshly back from New York City, so that's a good thing. Good to be back in North Carolina again, and I'm excited actually that the first story has a New York City tie-in to it, and that is on various BMW cars. Spider-Man is swinging his way through New York, and these BMWs are showcasing this promotion on operating systems 7 through 10. For Brand New Day. And Andy, you got to see Brand New Day, didn't you?
I've seen the movie. I'm not sure I would have liked to see my car that I had purchased and paid money for suddenly advertising a movie to me on its in-car screen. That would upset me quite a lot. And since we're talking about Brand New Day, I also just saw on YouTube this afternoon someone has uploaded the entire movie, but done the whole thing vocoded audio and this awful red and kind of, I can't remember how they've processed it. I mean, I cannot believe that it hasn't immediately been taken down, even though it's unwatchable.
The takedowns?
Yeah, it's unwatchable. I mean, you can try and watch it, and I recognised a few scenes as I scrubbed through it, but I was really quite shocked about to see that. Anyway, I don't think that's an excuse for this use of my personal vehicle if I owned one of these vehicles.
Yeah, when I saw this, I immediately thought of you, Michael, because I know you are a BMW fan, and we've talked about BMWs a lot. You and I even went to go to the BMW factory and the little road thing, or down in South Carolina, which was loads of fun. I have fond memories of that. My gut reaction is, boy, what a way to ruin your brand. I mean, completely take your high-end vehicle in the U.S. brand and shove it right down the toilet.
Yeah.
It's like I've spent, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 for this vehicle, and you're now going to run an ad in my vehicle on a screen? That blew me away. And then to your point, Andy, on the YouTube video, I have a story. I remember when Star Wars The Phantom Menace came out, going to the midnight showing to be there right when it launched, and then going, this isn't really good. And then finding online someone had uploaded a little camera in the movie theater capture of the movie at like 240 pixels, at the time, what you could upload it's on an FTP server somewhere, and trying to watch that and going, oh my God, it's just as bad when it's small.
This is not how Christopher Nolan wanted you to enjoy the Odyssey.
Michael, what did you think of this story? Yeah.
Well, I watched the little video, and there are some cute elements to it of incorporating both the Spider-Man and BMW brands. Luckily for me, my BMW is a 1999, so there's no screen at all on it. And I don't like the idea of private spaces, your vehicle being used to advertise, unless you've opted in for advertisements, and maybe that's in exchange for specialized navigation or other things. Heated seats. I don't know.
Well, I don't know about that either. It's talked about as a brand partnership, and my car, I can purchase themes for the in-car display if I want to, which would be a Marvel theme or whatever. I have no interest in doing that. I want a functional vehicle. But and I don't know that a brand partnership like this, by all means, do some advertising showing Spider-Man driving a BMW. I don't care. As long as that advertising is not showing up in my vehicle or pushed to another screen or device that I have not given you permission to access.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, you can buy themes, right? That's an opt-in. That's a additional transaction you can do on your vehicle that you've chosen to do. And it's just like, and one of the security podcasts I listened to was talking about some of the TVs nowadays, as well as some of the computer monitors that inject additional ads in the screen. Above and beyond what you've opted in for.
Well, some of them are sold at a loss.
Unbelievable.
Some of the TVs, I remember, were sold at a loss because they had an always-on screen with advertising below it, if you remember that one.
Yep.
Yeah, but I know LG, as an example, monitors what you watch in all of their TVs and will inject TVs.
Talking to you through with an LG monitor in front of me and to my right, and I have an LG television downstairs. And as we've spoken about on the show before, I set up firewall rules to prevent any of my devices phoning home or to other advertising platforms because of that.
Yeah,
but I shouldn't have had to do that.
But the average user won't do that.
I shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't have to, and the average user won't.
Well, they won't know how to, right? Because your mad, computer chops there, Andy, are beyond the mere mortal.
And you can't do that to your car because your car's network is independent. So, yeah.
All right. So,
and as we learned 3 years ago, the licensing agreement on some of your cars allows access to data about what you're doing in your car too.
Right. So that's that Mozilla story, that Mozilla report a few years ago about the privacy analysis of the car manufacturers. Yeah.
So let's go to a little more happy driving story. And Andy, this one is your Mario Kart experience, and you had to do a few mad computer chops sort of things to get that to function too, didn't you?
Was it the ultimate driving experience?
So this is a link and story from Retro Dodo, which some regular listeners will know that I pick up stories from relatively often. And they were posting a story about how someone has taken the Nintendo 64 cartridge code for Mario Kart, so Mario Kart 64, and rebuilt it so that it can be used with VR, an XR renderer in a headset. So the idea here is that you would run this on your Windows or Mac computer, and then probably have it on a connected headset potentially over USB, and be able to whiz around in there. Now, I have a framework laptop with an AMD mobile GPU, and I have a Quest 2, and the Quest has now got support for Steam VR. And it has some other abilities. Uses something called Wyvern, WIVRN. I love when these projects come up with these names that seem so suitable. So it's got a little dragon icon, Wyvern icon, wearing a VR headset, and that also enables you to stream any XR content that uses the XR libraries to your headset. So I did have to have a conversation with an assistant, one of the robots, to help me to get this set up for the first time, because I haven't really done very much with my computer and the Quest. The whole point of the Meta Quest is that it's a standalone device. You don't have to use it with the computer. It's untethered. But I did want to try this because I saw this. So I managed to get this to work. It rebuilt the code, the Nintendo 64 Mario Kart build, the engine, that is, because you need to have the cartridge as well, which of course I legally own, and definitely just plugged my cartridge directly into my laptop, as we do every day, and had it going to the Quest, and that was quite fun. Now, a couple of challenges. By default, it seemed to sit my face in the middle of the tarmac, so I couldn't actually see anything. And initially, it didn't render any of the other races. It just showed these little puffs of smoke coming off their wheels. So it was, you were kind of chasing these invisible puffs of smoke around.
Yeah.
But anyway, I managed to get all of the camera positioning, and it's quite fun. It's quite fun. It's different to play on the MetaQuest controllers. But yeah, you can now play Mario Kart third person or first person. You have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it to work. To your point about technical chops, it wasn't a consumer level experience, and Nintendo has obviously tried the VR way back with their very early VR experience, but haven't gone back in that direction. So it may be the only way to get there.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the Steam VR. I've got the beta of the Steam VR interface on the Vision Pro to connect to my Windows machine, but it requires a Bluetooth connection to be enabled.
That's super weird.
Yeah, and I don't have Bluetooth on my Windows desktop, which is just because I don't, and I probably should have one day put it on there. So that's weird. But I was thinking about it, and there's a game, and I can't remember, but there's a Mario Kart ripoff that I think has like American Dad and other Fox people on it. That is on the Vision Pro, a full kart game that you use your hands to drive steering wheel, and it's just like it. And I was thinking, Michael, you had mentioned in the past many times of doing Mario Kart racing competitions where you try to bang into each other and knock each other off the road in two-player person.
Well, I used to do that with Mario Brothers.
That's it. Okay,
battle mode.
Yeah, because I was never really into Mario Kart.
No, we played that a little bit, and this is interesting, and I like the port idea here too, because you can then think about, just like you would with Doom or other things, create your own environments. You could then prepare yourself to drive on a route that you might need to do in future. So there's some things here that this opens up in a new way.
Big difference between Doom and Quake, which I'm going to transition seamlessly into, is that they were both.
Oh, imagine
they
that.
were both.
You've got a WAD
They
file.
were both open. They release the code as open source, and Nintendo is notorious for not doing that, and for jealously guarding their IP. So I'll be curious to see whether or not this gets taken down. It's an old enough game, and the way that the whole thing has been rebuilt to run the cartridge is sufficiently tenuous that I don't think they're going to come after it. But to move on, today the Bethesda, I always get the pronunciation of that wrong, and I've probably done it twice in the same sentence. Announced an update.
Maryland people do funny stuff.
Announced an update for Quake to celebrate its 30th anniversary. Just for those of us who are already feeling old enough with Doom and Commander Keen and Wolfenstein and other games. But there's a 30th anniversary for the Quake series, which is a new episode for Quake 1. So I fired up Steam on my Linux machine and had a play of that before we started recording today. I had a quick walk around the new level. It was fun, and of course, but these days you can enable and disable all of the newer features in terms of like the rendering and the anti-aliasing and all that sort of stuff that didn't exist back in the day. But yeah, I've been having some fun with games in the last. Surprisingly, for somebody who's on a podcast called Games at Work, having some fun with games in the last few weeks. And I'm also, I haven't got any notes on this and don't want to talk about it in depth, pretty deeply into Baldur's Gate 3, which I finally got round to sitting down and actually playing after sitting on it for two and a half years.
Did you enable the over-the-shoulder view that we talked about last week?
But I was looking at the mods that I can do now because the Steam Deck now supports all the mods. So I might try that, but I haven't tried it yet.
So, Michael, for a more pedestrian thing, you gave us a fun link here about lawn mowing, and a lawn mowing game that has probably even some quantum, implications when you think about it as to how to solve problems like this. Did you actually play this game?
Yes,
and
I did. So it's actually really interesting. We've got an internal joke about mowing the lawn, and that was why I put it in there to start with. And then I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And the basic idea is a optimization model. And I didn't pay any attention to that when I played the game. I was like, mowing the lawn. And when I mow the lawn, I don't do it for an optimization. I also do it for exercise. And so I'm actually less optimized than I should be when I mow the lawn. And so I use the method that I would do for my lawn. And I was horrible. I was really badly optimized because I didn't know the rules of the game. So
this is a game that
it was kind of fun.
Game that was published on the pudding.cool website. So it's a browser game. So it's not something that requires a 3D headset or anything like that. As Michael was
But imagine if it did.
Well, yeah, exactly. There is lawn mowing simulator already. So, but this game is specifically designed,
of course, there is,
to understand that traveling salesman problem, the efficiency of the movement. It reminds me of my first post-university role, which was at the UK Post Office, where one of the systems that was being worked on at the time, this was at the end of the 1990s, was a walk optimization system to optimize where postmen would walk. And there was a load of user research involved because the postman, of course, would know their local area and all of the specifics of the, which houses had gates, which houses had dogs, which houses, what were the quickest ways to move around an area. And of course, these days, all of that is optimized to the hilt by the delivery companies and the e-commerce companies in terms of where they're going to send their drivers to deliver your packages.
But it is also a classic quantum computing challenge, right? Because
the lawn is either there or not there.
No, but it's the routes, right?
It's a superposition lawn.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about this? So when I was reading the article last night, I played it and stuff, and as we talk about sometimes privacy concerns. So Andy, you just shared the article to the original posting, not the one that I had found, and it's showing me my gameplay that I did last night. So it's sharing a cookie or some type of data across those sites between what I experienced, or maybe it just stored it locally and it's finding
those sneaky cookies.
So that's fun.
Those sneaky cookie guys. Yep. And then
it was just embedded, right? It was just they just embedded it.
But either way, you would think a day later, why is it showing me what I did?
Maybe.
So I'll have to clear that out. Check my cookies.
And there's a lot of people who did the non-optimal path on this too, apparently. Yay. All right. So let's move on to a different kind of playing games, and this one is one with an Octopus 16. And I have to say, this seems kind of a little scary. 16 different nodes, a lot of different elements, but it's intended to allow you to play a game with your brain.
So we go way back on this show talking about brain-computer interfaces, and so I'm always interested to see stories about this. I know that Michael Rowe, you did a lot more work with this space than I ever did in terms of working with the hardware and the technology. But I saw this. It came across CNX, which is a website I regularly visit for hardware hacks and latest stories. And this is what this is talking about is one of these very small ESP32 dev boards, which I use quite frequently in my home hacking and other things. So they're small, very capable little microcontrollers with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. But this is an add-on board for one of these. So if you think this is probably the actual board that we're looking at on the website is probably the size of a quarter or a 50 pence piece in the UK. And because the square board that would plug into that you can see the pins for on the website is only the size of the end of your thumb, usually. So this is a really small set of sensors that contain these pogo pins, electrodes, and so on to pick up the I presume the skin and the skin conductivity and the brainwaves, the EEG stuff, and then it works with another tool called the Pi EEG, which, as you might imagine, runs with the Raspberry Pi with Mind. And so I thought this would be a Michael Rowe kind of a story, more than for me, because I, as I say, haven't got or haven't tried for a very long time any of these kinds of tools. I don't love the obviously AI generated styled artwork all over the website, but it certainly looks like some of this stuff is at a point where arguably it can be quite accessible for home hackers or hobbyists.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had pulled out the old Emotiv headset, trying to see if on the box it told me the number of connectors. Right, I think it was 12, which at the time was kind of the minimum needed in order to control and play a game.
But of course,
without going into a full cap.
Back then, of course, you
shaving your
head.
You
had to plug it in directly to your spinal column, right? With that big spike.
Well, but just to be serious for a second about it, right? They had done a significant amount of software and hardware optimization to allow for brainwave mapping in the three-dimensional space of your head without drilling holes or shaving your head. And like I said, I think it was 12 connectors. And the very first demo I did with the CEO at Emotiv was playing the Harry Potter game with your brain. So I love this page. It's like the very first real working brain computer interface for gaming. Well, it's been done before. Yeah. Fine. But what's interesting to me, looking at that board that they have and the connector, it looks like they've got all 16 connectors or sensors clustered in one place.
Yeah, very localized.
And it's giving them some kind of trigonometry-based mapping of the brainwaves inside the brain. I'd really like to see how well this works, but I don't have the money to spend on a toy right now.
Yeah, so I think it's $250 for the kit, and then you need to add on it says you need to add on a Zhao ESP32S3 board. Well, that's about $10 to be honest, but then but it is. There's a bunch of other tools, and it refers here to the fact that they've got a Raspberry Pi based laptop kit that also has that connects to all this as well. So.
But it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I just did a quick little scan through the videos here too. So you can imagine using this to play the lawn mowing game. You can imagine this to also. I didn't realize it was that small, Andy, when I first looked at it, because it's when you see the example. I mean, I probably should have thought it was a lot smaller, given all that. But interesting stuff. All right,
cool.
so this one I'm sure was put into the mix for me, Andy. There's a robot that you found called the Quad Boat. So it's not a 16 armed thing. It's only 4, designed to help rescue people that might be drowning. So tell us a little bit more about what you saw here and what you thought was cool.
Well, I saw the headline, a spider-inspired robot built to save drowning victims. And I thought immediately, Michael Martin will be delighted to know that spiders can be used for good as well as for evil. Like Spider-Man, the spider boat uses its power with great responsibility. I think it's
spider
exactly boat. Spider boat
floats the way a spider floats.
We've spoken about in the past about the differences that emerge when we stop thinking about the need to have a directly human equivalent robot, right? So there's the one line of engineering that is continually trying to make robots that can dance and walk and run and do all the things that humans can do, either as well as or better than humans, and quite often they spectacularly fail on stage, as in the memes. But there is utility in trying to do that. Actually, humans are not great often on the water because of their body shape. We can certainly swim and do all those things, but in this context, where you're trying to rescue humans with unmanned vehicles, you might want different capabilities.
I really wanted to see a video, and I couldn't find one. I didn't click through any of the links from the main article. But I mean, it's a fairly small boat just based off of the shape of the waves in the picture. And
so it's a research
my first reaction is
article. So it's ArcSiv. So it's not at the moment, as far as I know, they presumably built a prototype, but they haven't started to.
They haven't scaled
put this
it because that seems like it would be kind of small to rescue a person.
Right.
A person could pull that under quite easily. And I used to be a lifeguard.
Michael Martin has just clicked through to the ArcSiv article.
Yes, I did.
And immediately saw a real spider. Sorry.
I used to be a lifeguard, and one of the most dangerous things about being a lifeguard is rescuing somebody and they drown you. And so one of the things that you learn is reach an arm out, and as they reach out, grab them and spin them over on their back and hold them so they're not facing you, so that they can't grab you and push you under. And so it's got 4 floats that kind of would, I assume, go around the person, and then the cables that come down, or the straps that come down that you could hold on to. I really want to see this more in
video,
action, even if it's conceptually in action.
They've got the pictures.
But this is really cool.
Towards the bottom of the article, of the research paper. They've got pictures showing its movement, or at least it in principle. But it's interesting they don't have videos of it, but there's a ton of engineering, mathematics, and other stuff in this article, as well as a picture of a water spider eating a fish at the top.
Yeah, they could hang a little G.I. Joe off of it to show scale.
Yeah, that would help.
They do. If you go down far enough, they've got a mannequin in like a pool.
There it is.
And it's like, yeah, but still, it's okay.
You're absolutely right, Michael. Yeah, it's under pick up and transport, so it's underneath. It's kind of hovering over the person.
There it is.
Yeah.
What do they do? They magnetize the guy?
So it is bigger than it looks.
Yeah.
It is bigger than it looks. I mean, the mannequin has...
It's always bigger on the inside.
Weird body scale. But,
so
they don't
something that's smaller than it looks, and something that's bigger than it looks.
It's bigger than it looks at the same time. It's really interesting.
Because you're thinking about spiders and fishing spiders, and if you want a fishing spider scare, go to the link, and you know what, you'll get your own. All right, well, we are nearly done. So there's a couple last things that we wanted to touch on, and one was, I'm not a regular reader of the New World, but I saw an article, and the image kind of caught my eye because the image was about a bot that looks like a human. So that was the whole idea, and the story talks about this concept of how do we do identity management in a world where there's so much AI slop from a video or pictorial perspective. And that attracted my attention to the Facebook verified structure. So Andy, you learned a little bit more about this too in the meantime, about what does it mean to be a verified human on Facebook as a way of then authenticating or using identity management.
Well, so Facebook is this is a very recent piece of news from Facebook in the last couple of weeks, introducing Facebook Verified as the link that we have in the show notes. And they've been running Meta Verified for some time, which was a paid verification program. So it's, the equivalent of the blue check mark on old Twitter, but you pay for it like you do on new X. And that's, of course, a completely gameable system. And I also don't want to pay to use Facebook or any of their platforms. So at the moment, the introducing Facebook Verified article talks about it being early days in some markets, and will be rolling out more broadly. Will show up in certain spaces first. So, for example, their dating platform, their marketplace platform, places where you might want to be a little more certain you're dealing with a real person. But the interesting part about it is, or two interesting parts. One of them is it's going to be free of charge, which completely defeats the purpose of Meta Verified, or undercuts it. But the other element of it is that they are coming at it from you want to know this is a real human and not a bot or a fake or an AI or some other generated account. And it's interesting that they're now pushing that direction, because I've also seen stories this week about people who are really struggling with their work. So artists who are being challenged regularly now to demonstrate or prove that their artwork is not AI generated, that they are in fact, the real deal. And it's the AI that was trained on their artwork that makes it look AI generated, because they are the originator of that style. There are all kinds of questions to the point of the New World article that you raised about what is real and how dangerous it is when we can't trust the authenticity of people and of channels. It's very frustrating and very worrying. But I'd like to be more hopeful.
Yeah, I've only got one quick thing to add, and then I know we've got to wrap. One of the things that I have a problem with all this, I've not used Facebook. I deleted my account, wiped the data almost 3 years ago, I think it is now. Definitely 2. And any of these services, at least in the US right now, require enough validation and verification where you have metadata that then allows you on the data brokers to put your entire profile across everything. Yeah. So I get what they're trying to do, both financially as well as other reasons, and absolutely don't care. I'm not getting anywhere near it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, friends and neighbors, that's what gets us to the end of our time here. We had even more things that we wanted to squeeze in, but we didn't have time to do it. So please come back. Join us again next week when we'll have more to talk about here on gamesandwork.biz. See ya, everybody.
Bye.
You've been listening to gamesatwork.biz, the podcast about gaming, technology, and play. We are part of the Blueberry Podcasting Network, and would like to thank the band Random Encounters for their song, Big Blue. You can follow us at our website at gamesatwork.biz.